They poured champagne on his head, called him trash, threatened to drag him out like garbage. 300 executives laughed and recorded every second. What they didn't know, the man they just humiliated at the $900 million contract signing wasn't there to watch the deal happen. He was the deal. And the second he walked out that door, their whole world ended. Welcome to today's story. Before we continue, drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from. You need to hear what happened next. You ever walk into a room where the money is so thick you can taste it? That was the Aurora Global Systems Gala. The kind of event where every handshake was a transaction and every smile hit a calculation. Nathan Smith stepped into the ballroom and let the atmosphere wash over him. Crystal chandeliers hung like frozen waterfalls. White marble stretched in every direction, polished so clean you could see your reflection judging you back. A string quartet played something classical that nobody actually listened to, just background noise for people who needed proof they had culture. He wore a navy suit, simple and clean. No flashy watch. No designer labels screaming for attention. His fade was fresh, his posture relaxed, hands resting easy in his pockets. The kind of look that said he had nothing to prove because he'd already won. Nathan preferred it this way. Quiet. Observing. Let them make their assumptions while he measured the room's true temperature. Servers in crisp white shirts moved between clusters of executives holding champagne flutes like weapons. Everyone had their phones out, angling for shots that would prove they belonged in this tax bracket. On every screen mounted throughout the venue, one name rotated: Aurora Global Systems. The $900 million partnership that was about to reshape the entire tech sector. Nathan moved slowly through the crowd, eyes scanning faces, reading body language. He noted who laughed too loud, who checked their phone every 30 seconds, who couldn't stop adjusting their tie. You learned more about people when they thought nobody important was watching. The irony wasn't lost on him. The first sign came at the entrance. Security, a thick-necked guy with an earpiece, stopped Nathan before he cleared the doorway. The guard looked at Nathan's navy suit, then at the sea of tuxedos behind him. "Sir." The word came out like a question. "You have your invitation?" Nathan pulled the embossed card from his jacket pocket. Heavy stock, Aurora Global's logo pressed in silver foil. The guard examined it like he was checking for counterfeits, flipping it over twice, holding it up to the light. "This is for Nathan Smith?" "That's me." The guard's eyes narrowed. He pulled out a tablet, scrolling through a list, taking his time. Behind Nathan, a couple in matching designer everything waited, the woman's heels clicking impatiently. Finally, the guard stepped aside. "Go ahead." No apology. Just suspicion that never quite left his face. Inside, that same energy followed Nathan like a shadow. He made his way toward the bar, weaving through conversations about market disruptions and quarterly projections. 3 women in evening gowns saw him approaching and subtly tightened their circle, clutches held a little closer. Nathan reached the bar and waited his turn. A middle-aged investor in a custom tuxedo materialized beside him, or more accurately, in front of him. The man didn't acknowledge Nathan's presence, just positioned himself directly in the bartender's line of sight. "McAllen 25 neat," the investor said, then glanced back at Nathan with a smirk. "Staff first, right? You guys can wait." The bartender's eyes flicked between them, uncertain. Nathan's voice came calm, unbothered. "Sparkling water with lime." The investor collected his whiskey and disappeared into the crowd. The bartender slid Nathan his water with an apologetic look that said everything. Nathan took a sip and moved to the side. No explanation needed. No confrontation worth having. Not yet. If tonight went the way he planned, explanations would be obsolete. At the far end of the ballroom, the lights dimmed. Conversations dropped to murmurs. Every head turned toward the stage as dramatic music swelled through hidden speakers. The host, some polished executive with veneers too white to be real, stepped up to the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, the visionaries behind tonight's historic partnership." Applause erupted before anyone even appeared. Trained response. Pavlovian. Then she walked out. Kelly Howard glided onto the stage in an emerald dress that caught every light in the room. Her blonde hair fell in perfect waves. Her smile was sharp and practiced. She waved like she was accepting an award she'd already written the speech for. Beside her came Tyrone Coleman, Aurora Global's Director of Corporate Relations. Gray suit tailored to intimidate, jawline sharp enough to cut contracts. He scanned the crowd with the confidence of a man who'd never been told no by anyone who mattered. The applause grew louder. Kelly and Tyrone stood center stage, soaking it in, feeding off it. Tonight, the host continued, we celebrate a $900 million partnership that will revolutionize. The crowd hung on every word. Revolution, innovation, disruption. The holy trinity of tech money. Nathan watched from his position near a floral arrangement. Kelly's eyes swept the room with an air of ownership, like she was cataloging her possessions. When her gaze passed over Nathan, it didn't even pause. He registered as furniture. Background. Tyrone leaned into the microphone, his voice smooth and rehearsed. This deal represents Aurora Global's commitment to excellence, to pushing boundaries, to partnering only with those who share our vision of greatness. More applause. More phones raised to capture the moment. Nathan took another sip of his water. He watched Kelly whisper something to Tyrone, both of them smiling like they'd already won everything worth winning. Let them enjoy it. The night was young. Kelly spotted Nathan first. Her eyes landed on him standing near the floral arrangement, hands in his pockets, posture too relaxed for the formality around him. Her smile tightened. She leaned toward Tyrone and whispered something that made his expression shift. Tyrone descended from the stage with purpose, weaving through clusters of executives who parted for him automatically. He approached Nathan wearing a smile that never reached his eyes. Hey there. Tyrone's voice carried false friendliness. You're blocking the VIP sightline, pal. We need the service areas clear for the actual staff. Nathan turned slowly, meeting Tyrone's gaze with steady calm. I'm content right here. Right. Tyrone's smile tightened. Listen, brother, the word landed like an insult. This section is reserved for principals and stakeholders. I'm sure you understand. A few nearby guests had stopped their conversations, pretending not to listen while leaning closer. One woman whispered to her companion just loud enough to carry. Is he supposed to be here? Nathan's voice remained even. I'm exactly where I need to be. Tyrone's jaw clenched. He snapped his fingers at a passing server. Can we get some assistance here? This gentleman seems confused about the floor layout. The server froze, eyes darting between Tyrone and Nathan, unsure who to acknowledge first. Kelly appeared then, heels announcing her approach in sharp clicks against the marble. She'd descended from the stage with the same purposeful energy, her emerald dress catching light like armor. Problem, Tyrone? Her eyes fixed on Nathan, scanning him from head to toe with undisguised disdain. Just helping someone find the right section, Tyrone said. Kelly's smile was all teeth and no warmth. She picked up a cocktail napkin from a nearby table and held it toward Nathan. Sweetheart, there's a glass over there that needs clearing. She pointed to a table 20 feet away. Make yourself useful. Nathan didn't move, didn't reach for the napkin. Just stood there, water in hand, expression unreadable. Kelly's smile vanished. Excuse me? I'm good, Nathan said quietly. You're good. Kelly's voice rose just enough to draw more attention. You crash an executive gala and you're good? Tyrone stepped closer, backing her play. Last chance, friend. Either help out or security helps you out. The music kept playing. The quartet had no idea they were providing the soundtrack to someone's destruction. Nathan moved through the lobby without looking back. His suit dripped red wine onto the pristine white marble, leaving a trail behind him like evidence. He didn't rush, didn't show emotion, just walked with the same measured pace he'd entered with. He found the stairwell, quiet, empty away from the crowd. The door closed behind him, muffling the ballroom's noise to a distant hum. Nathan pulled out his phone, scrolled to a contact marked simply Marcus, and pressed call. 3 rings. Then, Nathan? How's the gala? Nathan's voice came out low and firm. No anger. Just cold certainty. Execute the immediate withdrawal. Freeze all escrow and accounts. Terminate the agreement now. Silence on the other end. Then, Nathan, we've spent 6 months. Now, Marcus. If we pull out at this stage, Aurora Global will. That's exactly the point. Another pause. Nathan could hear Marcus breathing, processing, understanding what this meant. Understood, Marcus finally said. I'll initiate the protocols. You'll have confirmation in 3 minutes. Make it 2. Nathan ended the call and pocketed the phone. He stood in the stairwell for a moment, wine still dripping from his jacket onto the concrete floor. Then he started down the stairs, each step deliberate and final. Behind him, inside that ballroom, 300 people were celebrating a deal that no longer existed. They just didn't know it yet. Nathan crossed the lobby, passing the front desk where the receptionist pretended not to notice his wine-stained suit. The elevator doors opened, and a couple stepped out, laughing about something until they saw Nathan's appearance. Their laughter died. They hurried past. His phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Withdrawal confirmed. All escrow accounts locked. Legal team executing termination documents. You're sure about this? Nathan typed back. Announce it now. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, done. God help them. Nathan pocketed his phone and pushed through the building's main entrance. Night air hit his face, cool and clean. Behind him, through the glass walls of the lobby, he could see the ballroom's lights still glowing. The party was still going. The celebration hadn't stopped. Not yet. Inside the ballroom, the music cut out mid-note. The sudden silence was jarring, unnatural. Conversations stopped. Heads turned toward the stage where the host had reappeared, his face pale, his earlier confidence completely gone. Ladies and gentlemen, his voice cracked slightly. I've just received word that the partnership signing has been suspended. Confused murmurs rippled through the crowd. Kelly and Tyrone exchanged glances, both frowning. Then every phone in the room started buzzing at once. A wave of notification sounds, like a swarm of digital locusts. Executives pulled out their devices, faces shifting from confusion to shock to panic in seconds. The massive display screens mounted throughout the ballroom flickered. The Aurora Global logo disappeared, replaced by a simple message in stark white letters. Aurora Global Systems, partnership terminated. The room erupted. Voices rose. Someone shouted, "What the hell is happening?" Another person, "Check the stock price." On the screens, Aurora Global's stock ticker appeared, and everyone watched in real time as the numbers plummeted. 14% down. 18. 22. Kelly's phone rang. She answered, her face draining of color as she listened. "What do you mean frozen? Who authorized?" She went silent, listening, her hand gripping the phone so tight her knuckles went white. Tyrone was surrounded by board members, all talking at once, demanding answers he didn't have. His confidence had evaporated, replaced by something close to terror. The host tried to regain control. "Please, everyone, let's remain calm." But calm was impossible. Investors were already heading for the exits. Board members were making frantic calls. The carefully orchestrated celebration had dissolved into financial chaos in under 3 minutes. A senior board member, Mr. Tommy, gray-haired and normally composed, pushed through the panicked crowd toward Kelly and Tyrone. His face was red, a vein pulsing at his temple. "What did you do?" His voice shook with barely controlled rage. Kelly turned, still holding her phone. "I don't understand what's." "The man." Mr. Tommy grabbed her arm. "The man you humiliated. The one you poured wine on. Do you even know who that was?" Tyrone stepped forward. "That was some guy who crashed the event. We handled it." "You handled it?" Mr. Tommy's laugh was bitter and sharp. "You just destroyed this company." He pulled out his tablet, shoved it in their faces. The screen showed a news article already going viral. Nathan Smith withdraws from Aurora Global deal after public humiliation. Kelly's face went white. "Nathan Smith?" "Yes." Mr. Tommy's voice carried across the ballroom, drawing every remaining guest's attention. "Nathan Smith, the founder and majority shareholder of Sterling Innovations. The man whose approval we needed to finalize the $900 million acquisition. You poured wine on the person who held our entire future in his hands." The ballroom went silent except for the distant sound of car alarms and sirens from the street below, or maybe that was just investors' panic alerts all going off at once. Tyrone's face had gone gray. We didn't know." "Of course you didn't know." Mr. Tommy's voice cracked. "Because you didn't ask. You saw a black man in a simple suit and decided he didn't belong. And now." He gestured at the chaos around them. "Now we have nothing. The deal is dead. Our stock is crashing. Our investors are fleeing. And it's all on camera." He shoved the tablet at them again, showing a video already circulating on social media. Kelly pouring wine on Nathan's head. The footage was crystal clear. Nathan's calm expression. Kelly's satisfied smile. Tyrone's laughter. All of it captured and shared thousands of times in minutes. The comments were brutal. They destroyed a $900 million deal over racism and arrogance. Aurora Global just became a case study in corporate suicide. That man walked out like a king. Because he was. Kelly's hands shook as she watched the video play on loop. Tyrone had sunk into a chair, head in his hands. Mr. Tommy's voice dropped to a harsh whisper. "You didn't just offend a powerful investor. You humiliated the one person who could have made us all wealthy beyond measure." And he walked away. Just walked away. Around them, the ballroom continued emptying. The gala was over. Aurora Global's future was over. And Nathan Smith was already gone. The next morning, Kelly and Tyrone found Nathan at a small cafe 3 blocks from Aurora Global's headquarters. Not a boardroom. Not an office. A cafe with scratched tables and coffee that cost $3. He sat by the window, reading something on his tablet, a simple cup of black coffee beside him. He looked up when they approached, his expression neutral. The wine stains were gone, replaced by a fresh navy shirt and jeans. Casual. Unbothered. Kelly spoke first, her voice hoarse from a sleepless night. "Nathan. Mr. Smith. Please. We need to talk." Nathan gestured to the empty chairs across from him. They sat like students called to the principal's office, backs straight, hands folded, eyes down. "We made a mistake," Tyrone said quietly. "A terrible mistake. We didn't know who you were." Nathan took a sip of coffee, let the silence stretch. When he finally spoke, his voice was calm, almost gentle. "That's the problem, isn't it? You didn't know who I was. So you decided I was nobody." Kelly's eyes were red, makeup smudged. If you had known, you would have been polite, respectful, professional." Nathan leaned back in his chair. "But only because of what I could do for you. Not because it's how human beings should treat each other." "We can fix this," Tyrone said desperately. "We can restructure the deal, issue a public apology, whatever you need." "You can't fix it." Nathan's voice stayed level, but something final had entered his tone. "Not because I'm unforgiving, but because you revealed who you are. And I believe people when they show me that." He pulled out his phone, scrolled through something, then turned the screen toward them. It showed Aurora Global's stock price, down 43%. Articles about investor flight. Board members resigning. A company unraveling in real time. "You poured wine on my head because you thought I had no power," Nathan said. "You threatened to have me dragged out because you thought I was beneath you. And the only thing you regret is that you were wrong about who held the power." Kelly's voice cracked. "Please. We have families. People who depend on us." "So do I." Nathan's eyes hardened slightly. "I have 1,000 employees at Sterling Innovations. I have investors who trusted me. I have partners who rely on my judgment." He leaned forward. "And last night, you taught me something important about Aurora Global's leadership. You showed me that when you think no one's watching, when you think someone can't fight back, you pour wine on their head and laugh." He stood up, leaving his coffee half-finished. Kelly and Tyrone remained seated, frozen. "The deal is closed," Nathan said quietly. "Not paused. Not under review. Closed. Aurora Global will survive or it won't. That's no longer my concern." He picked up his tablet. "But let me leave you with something, since you came all this way." He looked at both of them, making sure they understood every word. "You believed disrespect had no cost. You didn't care who I was until you needed something from me. That's not a business problem. That's a character problem. And character always has a price." Nathan walked toward the door, then paused and looked back one last time. "Walk carefully. The world is smaller than your arrogance allows." The cafe door closed behind him with a soft chime. Kelly and Tyrone sat in silence, surrounded by the quiet buzz of a coffee shop where $3 cups cost nothing compared to what they'd just lost. Outside, Nathan Smith disappeared into the morning crowd, just another person in a simple shirt and jeans. Invisible again by choice. But now they'd never forget his name. Did you enjoy the story? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Turn on notification so you don't miss any of our intriguing stories daily. Remember to like and subscribe.